Stop. Adjust your posture right now. Lift your chest slightly and open your hands. You have been feeling a profound, unexplainable exhaustion that sleep does not fix, combined with a quiet, persistent urgency that something massive is about to shift in your life. You have spent your entire life believing that your profound feeling of not belonging was a psychological flaw, a social failure, or a sign of depression. In reality, this lifelong isolation was a deliberate frequency preservation protocol. The crushing misalignment between your current earthly routine and your awakening cosmic frequency is leading to intense physical and emotional fatigue, making you feel entirely alienated from the world around you. That silent restlessness has a name. It is not anxiety, and it is not a flaw in your design. It is the Arcturian frequency quarantine operating in the background, a state of energetic suspension where your true capabilities were hidden even from yourself to prevent early detection by the spiritual adversaries, while the Earth's grid was still too dense. In this transmission, I will reveal to you why the exhaustion wasn't random, why the isolation wasn't a flaw, and why the dissonance you feel every single day was actually your greatest protection. You will understand the invisible mechanisms that have been keeping your signal weak. You will recognize the exact tactics the spiritual adversaries use against your mind, and you will learn how to consciously choose to drop the earthly camouflage today. Have you ever felt that this profound, unexplainable exhaustion you have been carrying isn't just physical? What if the intense, silent restlessness doesn't mean you are failing at life, but is actually driven by the Arcturian frequency quarantine operating in the background, keeping your signal weak? You might have already realized that there is something keeping you disconnected from your true power, as if an invisible force held you in the same exhausting cycles. Now think with me. What if this earthly amnesia wasn't a punishment? What if the intense sensory overloads have been trying to manifest for years, but the cosmic codes weren't understood yet? What if every moment you felt you didn't belong was a sign pointing to a much larger truth you haven't seen yet? It was in seeking answers to this that I recommend to you this digital book called The 11 Arcturian Secrets Behind the Frequency of Success. This book is not just a reading. It is a material created for those who wish to understand the invisible mechanisms that influence results, prosperity, personal fulfillment, and growth. Throughout its pages, you will discover the specific Arcturian protocols capable of transforming how you interpret your energetic awakening. You will understand why some souls remain trapped in the density loop while others break through the earthly barriers. Many people already feel they need to change something in the way they think, act, and direct their choices, but they still haven't made the decision to access this knowledge. Download it right now. It's available in the first pinned comment. But be warned, few copies remain available. Do not wait another year living the same patterns of isolation when the code to break this cage is right in front of you. Click now. Download your copy and discover why the cosmic frequency you seek might be much closer than you imagine. And about exactly this, about staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. with a racing heart, about sitting at a crowded table feeling entirely invisible, and about looking in the mirror and not recognizing the density of the person staring back. There is a 3-minute key that fits exactly into the very next time you feel that crushing wave of isolation in a crowded room, and that I will show you further ahead. Tuck it away in the depth of your awareness. And beyond our digital guide, Soul, you have here another way to strengthen this message that arrived for you today and to make it reach more and more souls like you. We don't receive a single cent for each word I deliver to you every day on this channel. As a way for you to give back something of what you receive here, we also keep a voluntary donation link open right below the digital book in the first pinned comment. Any amount that fits in your hand today, any sum your heart points to. This is what keeps our channel standing. This is what makes the next message reach another soul who needs it, exactly the way you needed it today. I'll see you there, soul. And if you need to leave before the end of this video, this key is already waiting for you in the first pinned comment, right down below. But I ask that you stay, because without the context that comes next, the key does not operate with the same force over your dormant starseed signal. But the name of what is happening to you hasn't been pronounced yet. I will now list 5 specific signs. If you recognize them, it is not a coincidence. This is not a random psychological assessment, and it is not a generic list of modern anxieties that the world tries to convince you that you have. This is a precise, unapologetic diagnostic sequence. If these signs are echoing in your life right now, it means the Arcturian frequency quarantine is actively trying to suppress a signal that is already too strong to be contained within the old earthly vessel. Your energetic signature is expanding, and the friction you feel is the collision between your awakening soul and a world that is still deep asleep. Pay close attention to your physical body as you hear each one of these markers. The first sign is the 3 a.m. activation. You know this one intimately, don't you? It is waking up specifically between 3 and 4 in the morning with a racing heart, but a perfectly clear, almost electric mind. You stare at the ceiling in the dark, feeling a strange surge of adrenaline, yet there is absolutely no earthly threat in the room. The spiritual adversaries want you to believe this is insomnia, and the dense world will tell you to medicate this away. But this is simply your cosmic receiver catching the transmission. Your nervous system is actively receiving high-frequency downloads when the planetary grid is at its absolute quietest, forcing your consciousness to recalibrate while the rest of the world slumbers in density. The second sign is the timeline dissonance. You look at a job, a relationship, or a life path you worked incredibly hard to build over the years, and you feel absolute, sudden detachment, as if it belongs to a complete stranger. It is a profound, jarring realization that the life you are living no longer fits the consciousness observing it. You are not losing your drive, and you are not giving up on your goals. What is actually happening is that the old timeline is collapsing rapidly because your awakening frequency no longer matches its heavy density. You are outgrowing the matrix you built for yourself, and your soul is demanding an environment that can hold your true light. The third sign is the ancestral alienation. It is sitting at a dinner table with family or surrounded by old friends and realizing you are speaking 2 completely different energetic languages. You look at the people you have known your entire life and feel entirely invisible, as if there is an impenetrable wall of static between your heart and theirs. You love them, but you feel like a phantom in their presence. You are not becoming cold or detached, soul. Your frequency has simply outgrown the ancestral loops and karmic cycles they are still repeating on autopilot. You are vibrating at a bandwidth they cannot yet perceive. And about sitting at a dinner table with family feeling absolute energetic detachment that you recognized just now. There is a specific protocol for this in the digital book. The link is in the first pinned comment, but there is a reason the spiritual adversaries do not want you to know about this protocol. The fourth sign is the sensory overload. It is walking into crowded, mundane spaces like supermarkets, busy offices, or crowded streets, and feeling physically drained, overwhelmed, or dizzy within mere minutes. You feel the heavy, chaotic static of everyone around you as if it were your own physical pain. This is not social anxiety, and you are not becoming fragile or broken. Your empathic sensors are turning on at full capacity, but you have not yet learned how to operate them without your old earthly protective shields. You are an awakening starseed, absorbing the world's density without knowing how to ground it back into the earth. The fifth and most profound sign is the unexplainable homesickness. It is standing outside, looking up at the night sky, and feeling a profound, agonizing longing for a home you cannot even name. It is a deep, silent grief for a place that your earthly memory cannot picture, but your soul remembers with absolute, undeniable clarity. This is the ultimate proof of your origin. Your soul is recognizing its true lineage, and the Arcturian signal is pulling you back to alignment, reminding you that you are a visitor here on a very specific mission. You are remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. If you recognized at least 3 of these 5 signs, the Council, the universe, and your own consciousness have already brought you here for a specific reason. You are not watching a random video on the internet to pass the time. You are receiving a scheduled, orchestrated briefing. Your higher self guided you to this exact timestamp because the period of hiding your light in the shadows is officially over, and the phase of active, conscious integration has begun. The earthly camouflage is melting away. type 555. In the Council's system, 555 is the transition of the timeline. Your comment is not a platform interaction. It is a location marker in the field. It signals to the grid that you are acknowledging the shift, dropping the old density, and preparing your physical vessel to anchor the new frequency. Type it right now, claim your position, and establish your sovereignty over your own energetic field. Before I show you the key that will unlock the Arcturian frequency quarantine, there is a classification in the archives that defines exactly this state of cosmic isolation. It is a state of energetic suspension, where your true capabilities were hidden even from yourself to prevent early detection. Understanding this classification is the only way to finally override the static and reclaim the multidimensional sovereign power that has been waiting for you all along. This is where the Arcturian frequency quarantine becomes undeniably clear. The very next time you feel that crushing wave of isolation in a crowded room, you will know exactly what is happening to your energy. The opening of this hour that you are crossing has been seen because between feeling the call and understanding the response, there is an interval that the spiritual adversaries know better than you do. Not because the wisdom was denied, because the very next time you feel that crushing wave of isolation in a crowded room arrived, and the frequency preservation protocol was still operating in the background. And I tell you this because I have seen it happen. I have walked this exact frequency path. I have felt the phantom exhaustion, the desperate need to belong, and the heavy static in the mind. I saw the 3 a.m. racing heart turn into high-frequency downloads. I saw the timeline dissonance turn into timeline sovereignty. I saw the ancestral alienation turn into the anchor of a new cosmic grid. The Arcturian frequency quarantine was active, and the spiritual adversaries were feeding on the attempts to shrink that brilliant light. The voice of doubt, the cycle of distraction, and the isolation of perception used frequency dimmers to convince you that you were merely lost. And you already know this. You just had not given it a name yet. Have you ever stared at your life and realized the exhaustion you carry isn't random, but the heavy weight of an earthly camouflage you no longer need? How many times have you sat in a crowded room, feeling the profound dissonance of an awakening frequency colliding with a sleeping world, and wondered if the isolation was actually your greatest shield of protection? And what if the silent restlessness you feel every single day is not a flaw in your design, but the deliberate cosmic signal pulling you back to alignment? If you recognize this truth in your body right now, press the like button. This physical seal tells the Council you are ready to receive the next transmission. It was exactly looking for this response that I arrived at this digital book called The 11 Arcturian Secrets Behind the Frequency of Success. But pay close attention. The access is limited, and the window of opportunity is closing. If you feel the call, the link is in the first pinned comment below. Tap the link right now, secure your copy, and leave it registered in the comments. Activated. Because there is no force in this density that can stop what the Council, the universe, and your own consciousness have already started in you. Because whoever claims their cosmic origin before the world validates it finds sovereign power where others only see isolation. The digital book that is in the first pinned comment was built on this exact architecture. It reveals the precise protocols used to bypass the frequency dimmers and operate above the dense grid of fear and distraction. The investment is less than a Thursday lunch at the diner that you eat without thinking, less than a Friday night pizza, less than a Saturday snack with the kids. That hesitation has a name. It is the Arcturian frequency quarantine pretending to be reasonable earthly caution. A hesitation that can cost you another 12 months of energetic confusion. Not because it is worth less, but because the frequency of access must remain open to those who are truly ready. And it has a 7-day guarantee. If you open it, read it, and it does not serve you, send an email and you will receive every cent back. No questions, no process, no judgment. The risk is absolutely zero, especially when what is at stake is the very next time you feel that crushing wave of isolation in a crowded room. The universe only supports those who take the step. The risk is ours. The move is yours. Souls from all over the world are breaking the loop. One soul, a woman who spent decades trying to fit into the corporate mold, opened this digital book on a Tuesday night. She said the phantom exhaustion vanished in days. Another soul, exhausted by the timeline dissonance, applied the protocols at dawn. They said the 3 a.m. awakenings finally made absolute sense. A third soul finally understood their deep family alienation, sitting at a holiday gathering. They recognized the pattern and sealed their aura instantly. They recognized the pattern. But the one who hesitates does not even realize that this invisible cage of density is exactly what keeps them trapped. And your family does not notice it either, and your children do not notice it. And this invisible cage of density continues arriving, quietly, slowly, until the signal completely fades into the background noise. But before I give you the next word that is still coming, I need to make a pause. As I told you earlier, beyond the digital book that is in the first pinned comment, there is another way to keep this frequency active. Right below this video, there is a thanks button. Click it. Leave your voluntary contribution. Every gesture like this sustains our channel. It is your energetic declaration that you are no longer operating in scarcity, but in cosmic abundance. This is what allows this exact transmission to reach the next soul tomorrow. I will wait for you there again, soul. But what if the exact thing you are running from is the key to the activation? The spiritual adversaries are counting on your delay. There is a classification in the ancestral archives that defines exactly this state of cosmic isolation, and we are about to enter it. Stay with me. You have spent years, perhaps your entire life, trying to solve this profound exhaustion at the psychological level. You tried to fix what you thought was a broken mind, a failing social mechanism, or an unexplainable chemical imbalance. You analyzed your childhood, you scrutinized your daily habits, and you desperately searched for mundane, earthly reasons to explain why you feel so fundamentally out of place. You read the books, you sought the advice of those who seem to navigate this density effortlessly, and you tried to force your massive spirit into a tiny, acceptable human box. But the true blockade has always been operating at a completely different altitude. You worked at the level of the mind and the earthly body, trying to fit a cosmic consciousness into a standard human diagnostic box. But the barrier is multidimensional. You were treating an energetic cosmic activation as if it were a mundane earthly illness, and that is exactly why nothing has worked. You were diagnosing the expansion of your own soul as a failure to adapt to a world that you were actually sent here to change. The true nature of this silent, relentless restlessness finally has a name, and hearing it pronounced out loud will unlock a recognition deep within your bones. It is the Arcturian frequency quarantine. This is not a metaphor. It is a precise, deliberate state of energetic suspension, carefully designed to keep your true capabilities hidden, even from your own conscious mind. It is a cloak of density woven into your energetic field, meant to dim your signal just enough so that you could survive the harshness of an unconscious world without being entirely consumed by it. This protocol was implemented for a very specific, protective reason. It was put in place to prevent your early detection by the spiritual adversaries, while the Earth's grid was still entirely too dense to hold the magnitude of your true light. If your starseed frequency had been fully active and blazing from the moment you arrived, the heavy, uncalibrated environment would have crushed your physical vessel, and the adversaries would have easily intercepted your signal before you had the strength to defend your aura. The isolation was never a punishment. It was a carefully orchestrated cosmic shield. For decades, this quarantine operated in absolute, flawless silence in the background of your life. It wrapped your true multidimensional frequency in a thick, heavy layer of earthly amnesia, forcing you to forget your origins so that you could safely walk among those who are still deep asleep. It made you feel small, it made you feel broken, and it made you feel like you were constantly failing at being a normal human being. It created the very static in your mind that you have been fighting against, convincing you that the weight on your chest was your own personal flaw. But this earthly amnesia wasn't a cosmic error. It was a strategic necessity to keep you hidden from the spiritual adversaries who would have targeted your light before you were strong enough to anchor it. Your memory wasn't erased. It was simply encrypted, locked securely away in your cellular structure, until the exact moment the planetary frequency was high enough to support your awakening. The quarantine kept you invisible to the forces that feed on fear, distraction, and the isolation of perception, allowing you to mature your earthly vessel in secret. This protocol is an incredibly rare cosmic maneuver, reserved only for the original sparks of consciousness carrying the exact codes required for the massive planetary shift. The spiritual adversaries cannot replicate this quarantine, and they cannot penetrate it because it requires a sovereign frequency and a pure cosmic lineage that they fundamentally lack. They can only stand on the outside, using frequency dimmers and whispering through the voice of doubt, to try and convince you that you are merely lost, depressed, or broken, desperately trying to keep your signal weak so you never realize your own power. But the quarantine is lifting, and to fully break this energetic suspension, you must make a conscious choice today. You must acknowledge, right now, that the heavy energetic weight you have carried your entire life is not yours to hold. You must accept that your lifelong isolation was never a rejection by the world, but a profound, necessary shield of protection. And you must consciously choose to drop the earthly camouflage today, claiming your starseed inheritance and anchoring the light you brought here. Imagine a brilliant, blazing cosmic beacon, deliberately encased in a shell of dense, grey, unremarkable stone. To the outside world and even to the beacon itself, it looks like just an ordinary heavy rock, meant to sit quietly in the dirt, entirely invisible to anyone looking for light. But inside, the fire is raging, growing hotter and brighter with every passing year, waiting for the exact moment the environment is ready for the stone to crack. The Arcturian Frequency Quarantine was your stone. It kept your beacon safe, disguised as an ordinary human struggling with an ordinary life, until the grid was finally prepared. The friction, the phantom exhaustion, and the profound dissonance you are feeling right now is simply the stone cracking. It is your blinding light, finally shattering the shell. I will speak to you about a soul. Let us call her M. It is not her earthly name, but the name we give to those who have crossed the threshold. M arrived exactly where you are today. She felt the same crushing isolation, the same phantom physical exhaustion that sleep could never fix, and the same quiet, persistent urgency that something massive was missing. She spent her days staring at a life that looked perfectly fine on paper, yet felt like a suffocating dense cage wrapping tightly around her chest, completely draining her of her vital force. She thought she was entirely broken, and her first instinct was to fight her own awakening. She tried conventional therapy, poring over psychological frameworks to find out what was wrong with her mind, desperately seeking a diagnosis that could explain her profound alienation. She tried forcing herself to change careers, thinking a new environment would quiet the relentless restlessness. She tried desperately adapting to the heavy, dense energy of the people around her, sitting at crowded dinner tables with family, smiling while feeling completely invisible and entirely alien to the very bloodlines she was born into. But the more she tried to fit into the earthly mold, the weaker, the more exhausted, and the sicker she became. She walked this silent crossing alone, feeling like a starseed trying to operate on a closed circuit. The spiritual adversaries were feeding on her desperate attempts to shrink her own brilliant light just to make the sleeping world around her feel more comfortable. Every time she compromised her frequency to belong, this invisible cage of density tightened, leaving her physically drained, dizzy, and suffocating in the heavy static of mundane spaces. Then, in the absolute quiet of a 3 a.m. awakening, staring at the ceiling with a racing heart, but a perfectly clear electric mind, the truth finally anchored itself. She stopped fighting the dissonance. She realized in a flash of pure cosmic clarity that she wasn't broken at all. She recognized the unexplainable homesickness, the sensory overload in crowded rooms, and the timeline dissonance not as symptoms of a personal failure, but as undeniable markers of cosmic activation. She was a sovereign starseed, trying to operate her massive energetic field on a corrupted, outdated earthly frequency. M did not let the adversaries win, and she did not look back at the sleeping world with anger or resentment. She understood that the density of the people around her was simply an older frequency, and she chose not to punish them for it. Instead, she dropped the earthly camouflage completely. She refused to remain a lightning rod absorbing the world's density without knowing how to ground it. She learned how to seal her aura, how to bypass the frequency dimmers, and how to operate securely above the dense grid of fear and distraction, anchoring her light with absolute, unshakable sovereign grace. And Em did not take this hard-earned wisdom into silence. She did not leave you to figure this out alone in the dark. She left it recorded with absolute precision. She left a practical, applied map of the exact protocol she used to break free from this invisible cage of density. And it is exactly this practical, applied wisdom that is waiting for you inside the digital book you will find in the first pinned comment. The deepest truth is still ahead. The wisdom she left behind is not an abstract philosophy meant to float in the ether. It is a precise, biological and energetic recalibration designed to be applied right here, in the heavy density of your everyday life. When you finally recognize that the Arcturian frequency quarantine has been holding your signal in suspension, the phantom exhaustion begins to dissolve, not in decades but in days. Your physical vessel, which has spent years bracing against the chaotic static of an uncalibrated world, finally receives permission to stand down. Take a deep breath right now, feeling the air expand the center of your chest, and slowly let your shoulders drop. This is what it feels like when the earthly amnesia cracks and your multidimensional architecture comes online. You are no longer navigating the dark. You are identifying exactly what kind of light you were sent here to hold. Within this awakening, there are three distinct cosmic architectures, three archetypes of starseed manifestation that determine how you process this massive planetary shift. The first architecture is the frequency anchor. You are the energetic stabilizers of the new Earth grid, designed to absorb high-frequency light and physically ground it into the dense, mundane spaces of this world. Your sign of recognition is the intense sensory overload you experience in crowded rooms, supermarkets, or busy offices, where you often feel dizzy, nauseous, or suddenly drained. Your role in the awakening is not to escape this density, but to serve as the unshakable pillar that transmutes the chaotic static of the collective into a calm, sovereign vibration. You are the living bridge between the cosmos and the soil. The second architecture is the timeline weaver. You are the catalysts, the ones born with the precise codes required to collapse outdated, corrupted realities. Your sign of recognition is that profound timeline dissonance, looking at a job, a relationship, or a long-term goal that you worked relentlessly for and feeling absolute sudden detachment, as if the entire structure belongs to a stranger. Your role in the awakening is to sever the ancestral loops and karmic cycles, clearing the path so that humanity can transition into a higher, lighter trajectory without being dragged backward by the old matrix. You break the chains of the past simply by refusing to resonate with them. The third architecture is the cosmic translator. You are the receivers, the multidimensional antennas actively pulling down the blueprints of the new cosmic grid. Your sign of recognition is the 3 a.m. activation, waking up in the dead of night with a racing heart, a crystal clear mind, and a surge of unexplainable adrenaline, while the rest of the world slumbers in deep density. Your role in the awakening is to decode these high-frequency downloads, bringing the advanced Arcturian wisdom into the earthly plane so that the collective consciousness can finally begin to understand the massive upgrade taking place. You are the voice of the shift, but knowing your specific architecture is only the beginning, because the awakening starseed without the complete key is a lightning rod absorbing the world's density without knowing how to ground it. The very next time you feel that crushing wave of isolation in a crowded room, remember that the Arcturian frequency quarantine is active, and merely knowing you are an anchor, a weaver, or a translator is not enough to stop the spiritual adversaries from draining your field. If this transmission resonates in your bones, subscribe to this channel right now, because claiming your place here is declaring your multidimensional identity to the grid. The exact code to break this cage and operate your specific architecture safely is in the digital book waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Entering this frequency today will save you 12 months of energetic confusion. In the next 72 hours, when you understand how to wield your specific architecture, the overwhelming friction of this earthly density transforms into a profound, unshakable sovereignty. You stop absorbing the static of the unconscious people around you and start emitting a frequency so pure that it forces the environment to recalibrate to your presence. The phantom exhaustion vanishes because you are no longer burning your vital force trying to maintain an earthly camouflage that never fit you in the first place. You step out of the shadows of the quarantine and into the active command of your own energetic field. This is the moment you transition from being a confused, isolated visitor to a fully operational cosmic emissary. You realize that your unique sensitivity was never a psychological flaw. It was a highly advanced technological instrument of the soul, carefully tuned to detect the exact frequencies that the Earth desperately needs to integrate. When you finally align with this truth, the profound, unexplainable homesickness that used to ache in your chest transforms into a quiet, powerful compass. You no longer look up at the night sky with a desperate, agonizing longing to escape this planet. Instead, you look at the stars with the deep, sovereign recognition of an emissary who knows exactly why they were deployed here. The heavy burden of not belonging is completely replaced by the undeniable certainty of your cosmic mission. To seal this recognition in your physical vessel, go to the comments below and declare a single word: activated. This is not a meaningless platform interaction. It is a somatic decree, a verbal command to your cellular structure that the period of earthly amnesia is officially over and your true starseed signal is now fully online. I promise to return to this because the true danger isn't the isolation itself, but what happens to your frequency if you try to make it stop by fighting the adversaries directly. You hear this transmission, and a part of your highly logical mind immediately tries to rationalize the truth away. You tell yourself that this unexplainable exhaustion you carry is simply a medical issue, a chemical imbalance, or the inevitable burnout of a stressful earthly job. But I want you to understand that this rational resistance is not your true analytical mind speaking. It is the Arcturian frequency quarantine actively protecting its own concealment, whispering that you are just a fragile human who needs more sleep and better earthly routines. Then you try to convince yourself that the crushing sensory overload you feel in crowded spaces is merely social anxiety, or that the modern world is simply getting louder and more chaotic. But the density of the mundane world has always been exactly the same. What is actually changing is your own cosmic receiver, which is becoming vastly too sensitive to tolerate the heavy static without the proper energetic shielding. And perhaps the deepest, most agonizing doubt of all is the belief that if you were truly a sovereign starseed, you would not be struggling so much. You think a cosmic emissary should possess a perfect, flawless human life, completely free of suffering and alienation. But I am here to tell you this with profound warmth and deep recognition. You had to experience the absolute depths of this density in order to learn exactly how to transmute it. If you had bypassed the earthly pain, you could never serve as the anchor to heal it. The spiritual adversaries know this, and they deploy 3 specific tactics to keep you trapped in that illusion of brokenness. The first tactic is the voice of doubt. It strikes when you look in the mirror and do not recognize the density of the person staring back, leaving you feeling entirely mundane and powerless. It feels incredibly legitimate because it speaks in your own internal voice, using your deepest earthly insecurities against you. But this is a deliberate frequency dimmer, an external broadcast implanted to convince you that your multidimensional sovereign power is nothing more than an imaginative fantasy. The second tactic is the cycle of distraction. It catches you when the phantom exhaustion becomes so heavy that you desperately try to numb it out by endlessly scrolling, overworking, or burying yourself in mundane habits. It feels like a necessary, harmless, earthly decompression, a basic way to survive the daily friction of reality. In truth, it is a targeted static designed to drain the exact vital force you need to fuel your cosmic activation, keeping your signal perpetually weak and unfocused. The third tactic is the isolation of perception. It is that precise moment of sitting at a dinner table with family and feeling entirely invisible, convinced that no one will ever truly see or understand you. It feels like a genuine social failure, a tragic confirmation that you are fundamentally unlovable and destined to be a ghost in your own life. But this is nothing more than a localized illusion, an energetic wall built by the adversaries to keep you disconnected from the larger Arcturian network grid. To dismantle these tactics, you must stop fighting them on an earthly level and start wielding your true cosmic weapons. When the voice of doubt tries to dim your light, you deploy the shield of remembrance. Do not argue with the doubt, and do not try to logically prove your worth to the static. Instead, take 3 deep breaths, drop your shoulders away from your ears, and firmly recall your origin, letting the undeniable memory of those 3 AM downloads wash over the deception. When the cycle of distraction attempts to pull you into the numb void, you activate the laser focus of the Council. You resolve the urge calmly, maintaining the warmth in your heart without punishing yourself for feeling so tired. You break the hypnotic scroll, place one hand firmly over your chest, and consciously redirect that scattered vital force back into your physical vessel, anchoring yourself firmly back into the present timeline. And when the isolation of perception tries to convince you that you are entirely alone, you must immediately return to the collective grid. You acknowledge that the feeling of being an invisible ghost at the dinner table is a false, manipulated frequency. You close your eyes for a fraction of a second and reach out energetically to the unseen network of awakened starseeds, knowing with absolute certainty that you are never truly alone in this massive planetary shift. The Arcturian frequency quarantine operates in absolute silence to keep you disconnected from this very network. The very next time you feel that crushing wave of isolation in a crowded room, when the doubt creeps into your mind, when the exhaustion hits your bones, when the old timeline tries to pull you back into density, you have 72 hours to shift the grid before the camouflage hardens again. Do not listen to the static telling you to wait. It is the voice you confuse with your own. The digital book with the exact protocols you need is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. I must tell you this with the deepest gravity and the most profound love. If you ignore this recognition today, the crushing friction will not simply fade away. Remaining trapped in the loop of earthly confusion forever is the true consequence of dismissing this transmission. You will continue to misdiagnose your own glorious ascension as a psychological collapse, suffering through continued energetic exhaustion and burnout, while the adversaries feed on your shrinking light. You cannot afford to forfeit your crucial role in the planetary frequency shift just because the old camouflage felt familiar. And that is exactly when the Council issues the final directive. In the next 72 hours, 3 specific things might happen in your physical body as the Arcturian frequency quarantine finally begins to lift and your dormant multidimensional architecture comes completely online. Do not fear any of them, and do not let the spiritual adversaries convince you that you are falling apart. This is not a regression into the earthly amnesia. It is the precise biological frame of integration where your physical vessel actively recalibrates to hold the massive, blazing cosmic signal you are now allowing in. The density is breaking, and your biology must adjust to the new light. The first symptom of this integration is the phantom fatigue. It strikes almost immediately after you finally set a firm energetic boundary, or the exact moment you say no to a situation, a person, or a mundane routine that has been quietly draining your vital force for years, leaving you feeling suddenly and deeply exhausted. It is not weakness, it is not a psychological crash, and you are not doing something wrong. It is the old density violently leaving your energetic field. The heavy static you were carrying for others, the ancestral loops you were processing in your own body, are being rapidly purged from your cellular structure. When this intense wave of fatigue hits, drink a large glass of water to support the physical cellular flush and rest without an ounce of earthly guilt. You are not tired, you are emptying the vessel. The second symptom is the sudden purge. Over the next few days, you might witness people, habits, or seemingly secure long-term opportunities abruptly leaving your life without any logical, rational, earthly explanation. The spiritual adversaries will whisper through the voice of doubt that you have failed, but it is not a punishment, and it is certainly not a social or professional failure. It is the frequency clash correcting itself automatically in real time. Your awakening multidimensional architecture can no longer sustain connections, jobs, or relationships built on the old, dense matrix of fear, distraction, and the isolation of perception. When the purge begins and the earthly camouflage drops, let them walk away without chasing them back into your sovereign field. The third symptom is the timeline vertigo. You may find yourself standing in a perfectly mundane space, perhaps walking down the aisle of a crowded supermarket, or standing in a busy office hallway and feeling momentarily dizzy, disoriented, or entirely disconnected from your physical body, as if you are floating slightly above the floor. It is not a medical emergency. You are not suffering a breakdown, and it is not an anxiety attack. Your consciousness is actively anchoring into the new, higher reality, while the heavy, outdated timeline literally collapses beneath your feet. You are shifting gears on a cosmic scale. When the vertigo hits, ground both feet flat on the floor immediately, commanding your energetic field to stabilize firmly in the present moment. If you are already feeling the early ripples of this physical recalibration in your bones, if the quarantine is cracking and you can feel the truth of this transmission in your chest, press the like button right now. This is not a meaningless digital metric for an algorithm. It is a deliberate, powerful service to the collective field. Every time you press it, you send a resonant wave through the Arcturian network grid, helping another isolated starseed realize they are not losing their mind, but finally finding their true frequency. Now, prepare your physical vessel for the exact energetic transmission that breaks the final layer of the quarantine. Stop whatever you are doing right now. Uncross your arms and uncross your legs, ensuring your body is entirely open. Sit up slightly, lift your chest just enough to open the heart center, and gently close your eyes, letting your breathing slow down to a steady, deliberate, and deeply intentional rhythm. Bring your awareness all the way down to the base of your spine. Visualize a brilliant, incredibly heavy golden anchor dropping straight down from your root chakra, plunging effortlessly through the floor, through the dense layers of the Earth's crust, hand locking firmly and permanently into the molten planetary core. As it locks into place, feel the steady rhythmic pulse of the Schumann resonance at exactly 783 Hertz, traveling all the way up that golden line, flooding your lower body with the ancient, unshakable grounding stability of the Earth itself. Let that rising Earth frequency move smoothly up into your solar plexus and directly into your heart. See a vibrant, swirling orb of amber light, merging completely with a radiant emerald green energy right in the center of your chest. This is the biophotonic bridge coming online, perfectly balancing your fierce, sovereign cosmic power with a profound, unconditional capacity to anchor love into this dense world. Feel the crushing phantom exhaustion melting away as this blazing bridge floods your entire nervous system with pure, restorative, multidimensional light. Now draw that combined powerful energy up into your throat and directly into the exact center of your brain, right where your pineal gland rests. Feel a slight, electric, undeniable pressure as the piezoelectric crystals within the gland begin to activate and hum. Your dormant photoreceptors are turning on, expanding your perception far beyond the narrow, limiting earthly spectrum, while the vagus fiber optic network lights up in your chest, transmitting this high-frequency Arcturian code down into every single organ, tissue, and cell in your physical body. Finally, let this blazing, concentrated energy shoot straight up through your crown chakra, expanding outward and cascading down to form a massive, luminous dome of protection that completely surrounds your physical body and your aura. To seal this sovereign architecture, press your thumb firmly against your index finger right now and hold it tight for 3 seconds. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold that breath for 2 counts, and exhale deeply for 6 counts. The seal is set. The earthly amnesia is shattered. Slowly, gently bring your awareness back to the room you are sitting in. Feel the physical weight of your body in the chair, the temperature of the air resting on your skin, and the solid ground supporting your feet. Open your eyes. You are not the same dense, isolated version of yourself that started this transmission. The quarantine is broken, and the camouflage is permanently gone. We release the deep, agonizing fear of appearing strange, alien, or different to a world that is completely addicted to its own density. We release the crushing, phantom exhaustion that we carried for decades, for bloodlines and ancestral loops that refuse to heal themselves. We release the profound, silent isolation that convinced us we were broken, invisible ghosts at crowded family tables. We release the painful timeline dissonance, completely detaching our vital force from the old matrix of fear, distraction, and mundane survival, freeing our energy to build the new Earth. The frequency anchor. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized, and now it is installed in your field as a permanent signal. The timeline weaver. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized, and now it is installed in your field as a permanent signal. The cosmic translator. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized, and now it is installed in your field as a permanent signal. But the deepest truth is still ahead. We cover your physical vitality, sealing your energetic vessel, so the heavy static of mundane spaces can never drain your vital force again. We cover your earthly abundance, ensuring that your cosmic frequency aligns with the physical resources required to anchor your mission in this density without struggle. We cover your energetic boundaries, establishing an impenetrable shield around your aura that repels the frequency dimmers before they even reach your field. We break the voice of doubt before it arrives, ensuring your mind remains an unbroken channel for the Arcturian truth. We dissolve the cycle of distraction before it materializes, keeping your laser focus entirely locked on your cosmic mission. We dismantle the isolation of perception before it closes you in, reconnecting you instantly and permanently to the vast network of awakened starseeds. We are the awakened starseeds. We see the profound, unexplainable exhaustion that you carried for decades, the silent, relentless restlessness that made you believe you were failing at life, and we recognize the immense courage it took to hold that weight in the dark. We declare that the 3 a.m. awakenings were never a sign of insomnia, but the exact moments your soul received its most crucial downloads, and that the timeline dissonance you felt was the necessary collapse of a world that was too small for your light. We do not shrink before the density anymore, and that quiet urgency in your chest is finally dissolving into a deep, unshakable, sovereign calm. The era of the earthly camouflage is permanently over, and the long cycle of hiding your brilliant cosmic beacon inside a shell of dense, unremarkable stone is officially closed. We anchor the light, sealing this high-frequency architecture directly into your physical vessel for good. Because whoever claims their cosmic origin before the world validates it finds sovereign power where others only see isolation. I am stepping out of the transmission for a second. Look at me. My hands are physically warm right now, and the rhythm of my breathing has completely changed since we began this hour. You are no longer asleep. I am looking directly at the journey your soul has taken to survive the heavy density of this planet, and I need you to know that something was seen today. Something was profoundly recognized. You are calibrated. You are anchored. You are activated. Do not say activated yet. Stay in this for a moment. Now you can say activated. Now breathe. The signal is yours. Adjust your posture. The Council speaks through the silence. About sitting at a dinner table with family feeling absolute energetic detachment, the frequency you just anchored must be maintained. The digital book, The 11 Arcturian Secrets Behind the Frequency of Success, is the exact transmission you need to override the static. It costs less than a coffee and a bagel, less than an afternoon ice cream, and you have a 7-day guarantee. The risk is ours. The move is yours. The spiritual adversaries will tell you to wait. They will say you are too tired for this. They will try to convince you this is just a random coincidence. Do not let them dim your signal. The link is in the first pinned comment. And now the final word. The Arcturian frequency quarantine was only the first barrier to fall. There is a specific reason why your empathic sensors turn on violently around certain bloodlines, and understanding this biological trigger is the only way to navigate your family without losing your light. One last thing. Before I seal this hour, I need to remind you that this video was not an accident. It was a precise alignment of the Council, the universe, and your own consciousness. If this frequency has anchored in your heart today, balance the scales. The thanks button is right below. Leave your contribution as a seal of this activation. It tells the Council you have heard the call and are ready for the next phase. That was my last request. I will wait for you there, soul. You are part of a massive, unseen grid of awakened light across this planet. Share your experience in the comments below, because your recognition might be the exact validation another isolated starseed needs to finally drop their camouflage today. If you know someone who is trapped in the Arcturian frequency quarantine, feeling entirely isolated, send this message to them now. And if they want to go further, the link to the 11 Arcturian secrets is in the first pinned comment, waiting the same way it waited for you. It is not a favor, it is a service, and heaven sees. When your bloodline tries to pull you back into the old karmic loop, the ancestral override protocol must be initiated. The silence now is also part of the transmission.